Good morning. Sin, what is it? We only look at it the majority of the time coming from the place of being an immoral act, right? So that's more on the physical part of it, but I think that it's so much deeper. It's rooted in our identity. It's an archery term that is missing the mark, that we're created for something more, right? It goes back to the garden where we were created in the very image and nature of God, and then man and woman chose to be autonomous from God. So they're separated from their union with God in that garden. So then all of us come into the world apart from that. And then it says, Apostle Paul talks about in Ephesians 2, it says that we are made alive in Christ. Made alive. We were spiritually dead, now we're made alive because of who he was. It says that, but God demonstrates his great love for us, that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. So now all of a sudden our spirit is made back alive, and we're living as if we were back in the garden, as if we never ate the tree. So we've been made alive in Christ. So now we can actually live in that place of not being so self-seeking and we're fractured in the garden in need of love instead of being able to be love, right? There's something beautiful that takes place when we come back to that place and we are reconciled back to the love of God through Christ. It is by grace that you've been saved through faith in the finished work of Christ alone. So he brings us to life, made alive in Christ. I was dead, but now I'm alive. So what happens in that? I actually had this visual of physical life for us comes together when the sperm meets the egg, right? It's the same thing spiritually. We are the egg, and he makes us alive. Our spirit comes alive when the sperm meets the egg, right? Just like it does for a physical life. And the beautiful thing about free will is without free will, there is no love, right? So he reveals himself to us in a lot of different ways. And we have the ability to continue to live just the physical life, or we can become made alive in a spiritual sense. Our soul can be made complete in him, right? We can come to life, and then see things through totally new lenses. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. You know, when we were dead, and some of us were even more dead. There was more corruption in our life, but all of us are dead, separated from God. And all of us are homeschooled in the wrong home. From the time we're born, we are self-centered, self-seeking, self-justifying, right? We're only in the physical. But God makes us alive. He reveals himself to us in so many different ways, through nature, through his word, through his spirit, and is drawing us back into that loving relationship. But we have free will to either come to him and be united with him or not. And that's the beautiful thing, is that without free will, it's not love. And God is love. And he desires us to remain in that love and be made whole and made complete. Because when we are living only in the physical, we are not complete. That's why there's so much brokenness and darkness out there. But when he draws us back in, and when we submit our lives back to the love of God, it sets us free from that bondage of self and makes us alive in Christ. It's beautiful. May you experience wholeness and fullness in him. When you feel drawn to know him and to experience him, go to him, experience, submit to him, pursue him, love him, and be loved by him. It's a beautiful life. I lived apart from him for 44 years. The last 8 years I've been living in him, and he's been living in me. Anyway, God bless y'all.